setup. So again, a very, very super welcome to the Monday webinar. For anybody that's on for the first time, this is just my free webinar that I do on Mondays. I talk about a couple of trade ideas that I'm interested in, some things that I want to follow this week, some long-term, some short-term, and try to impart a little bit of my point of view on some of these currency pairs and setups. And a lot of things that we talk about on these Monday webinars end up being huge trades. Some of them just never move at all. Some of them give us the slip, but a lot of these trades that we discuss during the Monday webinars are big movers. We just have kind of today to talk about it, and so it's nice to kind of look at the long-term perspective of everything. By the way, if anybody is having any trouble with sound, it could potentially be on my end. Sometimes it's on the other end as well. It's it's always internet connection and all that stuff. This is recorded and it will be all clearly, the recording audio won't be affected by internet connection or any of that stuff. So it'll be good to go there. Okay, a couple of things to talk about. Number one, stop by Day Traders FX. Right on the front page here, you can just go and get a free trial to the trade group. You can get a free trial right there. It's totally free to get started. And you can give us a little week-long test drive to see how we do some of these things. Some of the things, setups that we talk about on Mondays, really end up going super, super well, and oftentimes people forget about them. We talked about it yesterday, and then you forget to watch it tomorrow and the day after. And in the trade group, we cover these things day after day after day and make sure that as many people as possible are able to enter these trades and make money on them. So get a free trial to trade group. That will be a very, very good thing. Couple of new things. There's a lot of things to talk about. We're going to have a webinar on Wednesday night. I'm going to send out the link and the details, and it'll be a webinar talking about a couple of things that I am personally going to be incorporating into my life and daily trading routine for the year of 2015. So I hate to kind of just totally jump on the New Year's resolution bandwagon, because we all know that those are always kind of tricky. But there's a few things that I've kind of been dabbling with, and it's time to really take it seriously. And there are things that I know will make a huge impact on my life and my profitability as a trader. And so I want to talk to you guys about all that stuff. So keep an eye on your email, and you'll see that webinar link coming out later this evening, and it'll be for Wednesday evening. So in about 2 days from now. So just be ready for that. A couple of other things that we're going to be doing. There is, I've decided to do kind of an intro level referral program for the trading group. So anybody that's interested in the trade group, or those that are already in the trade group, for example, if you bring a friend to the trade group, I will cut your membership fees in half. So the first person you bring, your membership fees will be cut in half. If you bring a second person, then your membership will be completely free. Now, this will be as long as both of these people are on. And it'll go for, good question, Mel. It'll go for as long as the people stay with the active memberships. So if you have an active membership, you bring somebody, it'll be half off as long as they're active, and you bring two people, free membership, but everyone needs to have active memberships. So if someone cancels or quits, then it's not free forever, kind of a thing. So it's just a good way to save some money on that. If you have some friends that are interested in getting into Forex, I want to make sure that that you get rewarded for that. I'm working on a little bit more of a referral program, so that if you bring more people beyond that, you can actually make some money on the monthly referrals. So hopefully that'll be a nice little thing. That's in the works. That we'll have that kind of finishing up and running in the next few weeks. But for now, bring a friend, get half off. Bring two friends, get a free membership. All trade levels will have, so we have two trade levels in the group. One includes our live daily sessions, and one is just the recording of those. Does not include the live chat room. We're going to have about 4 to even 6 live trading or news trading events every month that everybody in the website will be invited to. So that'll be a good thing. So those that have the membership that does not include the daily live trading sessions, we'll have probably at least one a week that will do a live news event. Sometimes two, sometimes even more. Just kind of depends on how the week of news goes. So that'll be interesting. So that'll give everyone a little bit more access to these live sessions. Last but not least, I've got a couple of candidates that I'm narrowing down to be a moderator for the UK and European sessions. So we'll have a moderator for those that are trading overnight, for those that live in Europe and South Africa and Asia and some of those places. You'll be able to have a little bit more of a live session during the UK and the European hours. So we've got a UK moderator in the works, and that should be finalized in the next week or so. So that'll be exciting as well. So just a couple little announcements to mention there. Let's talk about some of these currency pairs. Yeah, exactly, Adrian, exactly. Just a quick note, and to bring this up for everybody, we have a lot of news this week. So this week we'll have at least one or two of those news sessions. Definitely one for non-farm payroll, which is this Friday, and then one for one of these other ones. And I'll have that all posted this evening as well and sent out to members of the group. But we've got a lot of news this week. It's heavy amounts of news. Big U.S. news. We've got some interesting Australian news. We've got some good UK news, interest rate news, and then we have employment numbers for the US and Canada this week. So it'll be a very busy week as far as news goes. So that's something to keep a massive eye on. And then the other thing that I always like to keep an eye on is the dollar index. Where's this dollar index? Where's it been? Where's it going? Excuse me. And the dollar index has gone totally nuts. It just doesn't want to, it doesn't seem like it wants to pull back at all. So if we look at these larger time frames, you can see the dollar index has been on a very nice rally lately. And this dollar strength is, we're seeing that very, very clearly in the continued drop in the euro dollar, continued drop in the pound dollar, all of that. It's just really plowing through those levels. And so remember, the big one that we've been watching is the monthly chart. Remember, we talked, number one, about making sure that we could get above and stay above this level, and we did get above that. And then we wanted to make sure we could get above 89.30, which was the high of 2009. And definitely a multi-year high, and we just plowed right through that, no problem, just no problem at all. And we're nicely through this trend line right here. This is that long-term trend line that we've talked about for some time now. That huge trend line that goes all the way back to 1985. The dollar has just plowed through that, no problem. And so now we're watching this. It's had quite a rally. It's been going up for a good several months straight now. It's due for a little bit of a pullback, but overall major levels have been broken, and it just continues pressing forward. And so we're definitely keeping an eye on dollar strength, but we have to keep an eye on other important levels as well. But we know that the dollar has just busted through this, and it has a very high likelihood of just continuing on through. A couple of things we like to watch, keeping an eye on the Dow and oil and so on. Oil broke below $50 a barrel today. That was a pretty big deal. The Dow's down 330 points. S&P took a pretty big dive. Everything took a pretty big hit today. And so, those are all signs of some continued dollar strength. So we got to keep an eye on all of that. But we had two very nice trades play out. In fact, I want to just make sure to remind everybody that when you go to the Day Traders FX website, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner here where you can log in and you can get access to all the member services. But likewise, if you're not a member, you can just go to the blog right here. And if you go to that blog, it will show you some of the things that we have done and looked at over the last couple of weeks and months and so on. You can see that right here. This was the last post before I took a little bit of a break. December 23rd, we talked about the pound dollar either selling off short below 155.40 or making a significant run up through 157.80. And we know that the pound dollar made a massive break of 155.40 and just continued on down there through there. So make sure you keep an eye on the website because there's some great trade ideas. Here were our two trades that we loved so much. We held on to this euro dollar for some time, so we got into the euro dollar 123.50. And it just continued right on through, right into 120. We got out at 120 with a nice little 350 pip profit. Great little setup there. And then we had this nice little dollar CAD trade, just a nice little easy run. Broke through that 116.75. We got in at 116.75, rode it up to 11800. Just a great little trade, easy money, easy profits. We love those. We love those. And so we're going to keep looking for those. And for some of you, now remember, I will look from time to time for shorter term trades, but for the most part, we're looking for trades we can at least get 100 pips out of. That's kind of the minimum that I'm really interested in. 100 pips is what I want to see. I'm not really into 20 and 30 pip trades very often. So for those of you that do like shorter term trades, we will try to talk about those as much as possible. But I just really honestly don't trade them that much. I'm much more interested in these big movements, especially right now. What we have now is lots of movement. We have a strong trend in all these currency pairs. We have big things happening. There's just a lot of activity, and so that is very much worth keeping an eye on and watching out for. So that's what we're looking for. Dollar index has made a nice move. And it took us out of our euro dollar. So we made 350 beautiful pips on this euro dollar move down, and it just continued very, very nicely. Hit that 120. Now remember, the 120 level is taking us into these multi-year lows back here. Now, do I think the euro can break 120 by a significant manner? I mean, it's a little bit below 120, but is it going to make a significant move below 120? Probably, and we're going to be looking to trade that. But the reason we put our profit target at 120 is because there is a lot of support down there. This is a very crowded trade. We're leaving gaps. Things are happening that this euro dollar should be able to pull back 100 or 200 pips, get back up to 121.50-ish area, and then give us opportunities to continue shorting it from there. I think we could see the euro dollar pretty easily get down into down into the mid-teens, 115, 116. Beyond that, I think it's going to be a really long-term guess. But at least for the moment, we're out of the euro dollar. We're pretty neutral. We may look for some shorter-term buying opportunities on the bounce of 120. But for the most part, we're going to focus on selling any rallies on this pair and getting this thing back into the mid-teens, which would be fantastic. So I think we could see that happening. So anything above 120-100 starts to get pretty interesting on euro dollar to start shorting it and taking it back down through those significant support levels and down through that 120. So that one is looking very good. We took nice profit on that. We've been talking about this trade forever. We've been talking about 120 forever. It finally got hit. We made some good bucks. All in all, just a great little setup, great situation. And now we're just kind of neutral. We've got some pretty good looking arrows on the indicator that are telling us that this is getting decently oversold and a bit crowded on the short side. So we're going to kind of let that play out. We're going to look for price patterns and reasons to get some little bounces back up. But overall, we do want to do our best to sell rallies on this euro dollar. So I'll have some more specifics on that one. But that's just kind of, with all the news coming out and all the details, some nice rallies could very much be in order for euro dollar, giving us some good opportunities to sell. So 120 was reached. We talked about it like crazy, and just a fantastic little setup there. Willem, I will talk to you, or I'll talk a little bit more about the indicator. Just remind me at the end of the webinar to discuss a little bit about the indicator, because I'm sure there's a few people here that are not familiar with what it is. So I'll hand out the link and all the details for it at the end of the webinar. So that's euro dollar. I'm watching the Aussie dollar. I think the Aussie dollar has a lot of weakness to go yet, but the Aussie dollar is looking very interesting in that it's struggling around the 80 level. Now, I think we're going to see a pretty nice little move beyond that fairly easily, but you can see that we had this big move down, and then we had this inverted hammer right here on Aussie dollar, and then we've got this bullish candle. So I'm not totally ready to do anything yet, but we could be in the very early stages of a falling wedge, early stages of an inverted head and shoulders pattern, a lot of that stuff. So this is a long-term trade that we're watching. We're not ready to do anything with it just yet, but we're keeping an eye on it, and there could be some good Aussie dollar activity in the works. Yeah, Possibly, Adrian. Yeah, we could see this get down to 75 and then head right back up to parity. Yeah, that would not be out of the question at all. But those are big long-term movements, and we're gonna just try to follow the big levels right now. And the very beginning of the year, now we got pretty lucky. We had some very nice trades. Cleared about 500 pips, almost 500 pips, right in the very first week of the year. The euro dollar had been running for a couple of weeks, but dollar CAD was a few days, and we made some nice money on that. Beginning of the year can be a little bit kind of touch and go, so we have to be careful, but there can also be some very excellent trends, and I think we're probably going to see some pretty good trends here. So we're going to be kind of careful this first week with all this news coming up, but we're going to see some very nice trends develop and continue on a lot of these pairs, so I'm really excited about that. So Aussie dollar is a definite watch and see. Remember on the pound dollar I talked about that 155.40, and it was a choppy run. Definitely a choppy run. It dipped down, pulled back, dipped down, and then made that huge run below 155.40. So pound dollar is definitely on our watch list as well. This could be headed down below 150 or at least to 150. It's made a huge, massive movement there, and who knows where this thing is going to finally slow down. But pound dollar, euro dollar, these are all kind of in the wings, in the waiting stage. Aussie dollar very much so as well. Dollar CAD, here was our dollar CAD trade. So we bought this at 116.75, grabbed a quick 125 pips out of it, called it good, we were done. The dollar CAD is still a very, very nice little very nice little one in the works here. And Rupert, yeah, we still have some gaps on pound dollar. We still have some gaps on a couple of pairs, and so yeah, the pound dollar's got some gaps to fill. Definitely. Dollar CAD was just an easy, fantastic, excellent little trade. You can see that we're getting, we're making a nice move beyond the 200-day moving average, the 200 moving average on the monthly chart. It looks like we're going to get a nice, easy close. Everything has, a second close above this 200 moving average. We got one already for December, and then January has opened up and just continued on very, very nicely there, and that's where we got our trade filled. The dollar CAD has a long way to go before it even gets to any significant levels. I mean, if you look at it on a little bit more of a bigger picture here, you can see that the dollar CAD is coming off some big lows here, and the highs are a good little jaunt away, about 160. So we're still in about the bottom third of this huge range. So there's a lot of room for the dollar CAD to continue up. Canada has some weakness right now with ties to oil prices and so on. The U.S. dollar seems to be on a pretty strong movement, so this can be a great pair to continue buying. It may seem like it's totally overbought and it's totally overextended, but I still totally favor buying some dips on this on this pair. I think there's going to be some great opportunities there. One thing to remember, though, the indicator is definitely telling us that there are some extended situations here. The 4-hour chart could stand to pull back a little bit. The daily chart is slowly getting there. And you can see there's a little bit of a 15-minute chart set up. Again, I'm going to post the link for everyone so you can kind of see what I'm talking about with this indicator, but it's getting a little bit overextended, no doubt about it, on the short term, but I think long term we've still got a very, very safe bullish movement on the U.S. dollar Canadian dollar pairs. So we're just going to be absolutely looking for opportunities to buy this one down around support. 11600 and change would be a great area to look to get back into this. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Right in that area is going to be a great spot to look for that. So we just want to make sure that this can, hold support. We've got the 200 moving average down here. This is sitting at about 115.25. So there's going to be some great support down there. So getting down to 11600, a little bit below 11600 is going to be a great spot to buy dollar CAD and just trade it on up. I think the dollar CAD is going to have no problem reaching 120. It should be able to get there fairly easily, and so we want to be totally on board with that. So that's going to be a great long-term trade to start the year off as well. We grabbed some short-term profits out of that, which was great, by the way. We got out at 11800. It did make a little bit of a spike, another 40 pips higher, but now it's 40 pips lower than where we got out several hours ago, right at the open of the market. So great little run. Albert, I'm not short yet on dollar CAD. I'm more interested in buying dips. I definitely don't feel super comfortable being short just yet on this pair. And absolutely, Adrian, yeah. If oil really makes a significant move below 50, then things will just continue on. And what I want to encourage everybody to look for is try to find those, quote, obvious strength and weaknesses. So, for example, if one country is just, having one major economy, like the euro, for example, there's a lot of question marks going on there. The euro's made a pretty significant move down, and but it's still, there's still weakness there. The U.S. dollar is strong. Being short euro dollar is still a pretty good idea. After a little bit of pullback, though, I'd like to see this thing pull back just a little bit and give us an entry a little bit higher. So that's going to be a great one. Try to find those, obvious strength currencies and obvious weakness currencies, and really dig into those and trade the heck out of those things. So that's what we're going to be looking for there. So dollar CAD is going to be a great opportunity. Euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar are all going to be great opportunities, but there's going to be some weighting involved on both of those, or on all of those. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. But dollar CAD could be something that we get into, as early as the next day or two or three. So if it just dips down enough, we're going to be buying the heck out of this thing and trading it right back on up. Again, 11600, just below 11600. That's going to be a great area for buying dollar CAD. Yeah, the trend is your friend, that's for sure. We've got some nice things on dollar Swiss franc as well. So as we expect a little bit of pullback on euro dollar, we'll see some pullback on dollar Swiss franc as well, and we will want to buy dips on this pair. So the indicator is getting pretty intense here. We've got some pretty overextended setups here. 415 pips with a previous max pip of 126. There definitely should be some nice pullback there. And yes, we do have a massive price reversal candle right there. It's not that big on all brokers, so this might have been a little bit of a price feed situation, but there is a long wick on a couple of different brokers. So dollar Swiss franc definitely had big rejection, and it looks like it's probably ready to come down just a little bit. But definitely wanting to buy dollar Swiss franc. Around the 9,900 area would be ideal. See it drop about 150 pips or so and start buying back into that and taking it back up. Remember, we want to look at the big picture. We want to see where are things in the big picture. And right now, here we're sitting at parity with the U.S. dollar and the Swiss franc. And again, when we look at the big picture here, we see that we're just coming off of these lows here. I mean, we're a couple thousand pips off the lows, but we're much more than a couple thousand pips off the highs. We're like 3,000 pips off the lows and over 8,000 pips away from the highs. So we're very much in the bottom third of this big movement here as well. We have a nice 200 moving average on the dollar Swiss franc on this monthly chart up here at about 114. 100 area, so that gives us a good chunk of pips to work with. So this dollar Swiss franc is not done. We want to follow this trend, we want to ride this movement, and we're definitely looking to buy some dips. So at or below 9,900 is going to be a great spot to start jumping into this thing and buying it long once again. So dollar Swiss franc should be able to continue on nicely. Remember, the dollar index is just plowing through those highs, through those major levels. So a little bit of natural, healthy pullback will be great. Most of these pairs need about 100 pips of pullback from the recent direction they've all gone, and we're going to have great entries on more than a few with 100 to 150 pips of pullback. So that will be fantastic and excellent. You guys have heard me chatting about this pair quite a bit. The Aussie New Zealand is still looking very, very excellent. We're in this. I'll have some more updated notes and details for members about this trade as soon as we're done here. But this is just a great little setup. This is just a wonderful trade. Remember, we're totally interested, completely interested in the long-term picture. We want to get 300, 400, 500 pips out of a trade, 600 pips, 1,000 pips. And I think the Aussie New Zealand is going to be a nice 1,000 pip trade. So for anybody that's not in this trade, keep an eye on 104 to 10500. Anywhere in that area, buy the heck out of that thing. Anywhere between 104 to 10500, buy Aussie New Zealand, and just let it roll. Just let it roll. Start small, add to your position, and target at least 112. And we're looking for a much higher target than that, but I think 112 is a pretty easy assessment to get in to really look for that movement. So 112 should be a great profit target, and between 104 and 105 is a great area to be buying the Aussie New Zealand. So jump in on this thing, let it ride, let it rock and roll, make some money on it. If you're not in it yet, just pending orders are fine. We have lots of Aussie and New Zealand news coming up. This thing's going to hop all over the place. And we should have plenty more opportunities to get into this thing, but it's looking very good, and we have an excellent. We're at all-time lows. We're bouncing off of all-time lows. This thing is going to move and move. Yeah, and it's been moving. It's been moving. We had this nice little candle right here that shot up 20 or 25 pips, and it's just going to keep on trucking. So let's keep our eyes on this Aussie New Zealand and let this rock and roll. This is going to be one of the biggest trades of the year, for sure. This will probably be the largest pip-wise trade that we take all year long. So super excited about that one. There's a bunch more in here that I'm looking at. Suffice to say, still having my eyes very much on the pound Swiss franc. There's nothing much to do with this one just yet, but it is getting very, very interesting. So we have pound Swiss franc details coming up in the next several days to week or two. What we're still looking at doing, absolutely, positively, is buying dips on yen pairs. Yen pairs are still just moving right along. Here's the dollar yen. On one of the webinars here, we talked about buying the dollar yen below 117 and letting it run, and it did that. It ran up hundreds of pips. We took a trade that was good for 200 pips on the dollar yen just recently, right before the break. The dollar yen is looking fantastic, though. If we go to excuse me. If we go to, again, the big picture here, we're just a little bit above the halfway mark. We still have highs all the way back here at about 140, 147.50 and so on. And this is really just this has lots of room to go. So we're going to keep an eye on buying dips on dollar yen. We're going to be looking at buying dips on pound yen, potentially on euro yen, but I don't know about euro yen. I think euro yen and Aussie yen are going to be some that I kind of stay out of. I think dollar yen and pound yen are going to have better opportunities for buying dips and really riding that trend. I think euro yen and Aussie yen can be a little bit complicated on that trend. We'll keep an eye on the CAD yen and the chef yen and all of those, but I think dollar yen and pound yen will be the two best yen pairs to trade that will probably be able to have the most trend and most movement out of them. So those are going to be coming up as well. And there's quite a few more that we're watching, but to not overload you guys with too many things that I'm looking at, those are going to be my favorites. So we're waiting on euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar. We're looking for some dollar CAD entries. We've already got Aussie New Zealand entries. We're waiting on dollar yen and pound yen. We just have a lot of really good stuff in the works. Dollar Swiss franc is going to be an excellent trade. Just a lot of good stuff in the works. So keep an eye on central bank stuff. We have to keep an eye on interest rates. We have to keep an eye on the dollar index to make sure we're kind of staying straight on a lot of these setups. But we have some big ones in the works. So I hope you guys are ready for all of that. Come get a 5-day free trial to the group at daytradersfx.com and join us for some of these live sessions that we have every single day. We're live twice a day. Morning and evening, and we talk about these setups. We make sure that everyone gets into them. We make sure that questions are answered, that there's a learning experience that happens, and that you just overall become a better trader and improve your profitability. So that's the goal. I sent out our recent performance report of the trades that I've called recently in the group over the last several months, and it's pretty good. So if you follow our trades, you'll make some money, and it will be well worth the monthly subscription. And if you bring a friend, your monthly subscription is half as much. If you bring 2 friends, your monthly subscription is free. So it's a pretty good little deal. Okay, guys, that's that. I'm going to cover the indicator stuff for just a moment for anybody that has any questions about that. So hang on for just 2 seconds, and we'll get that indicator stuff all discussed here. So just one moment.